Now today in Cremona is Sant'Omobono, which is the patron saint of Cremona, which I think in the translation in English is Saint Homobonus or something like that. It means, from Latin, means good man. So he was a good man. I think he was born in the 12th century, and he was renowned as being quite a generous guy. He was a merchant by trade, and yeah, we celebrate every 13th of November. The whole of Cremona has a day off, and people have. This is near my house. It's not in the centre. I'm going to go into the centre later on because the Festa del Torrone is on, which I mentioned before in a previous video as well. It's like a almond nugget fest. It's like a mixture of almonds and honey, and I'll show you that later on. But this is like my neighbourhood. People just out selling stuff. It's like a car boot sale, isn't it? But no, it's got tradition because we're in Italy. So Saint Homobonus. Sounds funny that. I think I laugh when I say it. Patron saint of Cremona, 13th of November. It was also the day of the attacks in Paris 10 years ago. Because I remember 10 years ago I was walking around here and I was getting news alerts. I think it was the first time I had like internet on my phone. I was getting news alerts saying, oh, Paris. And I had a work colleague who was in Paris as well. 10 years ago that, yeah. So anyway, yeah, walking around the market, local market here. I'll show you the Festa del Torrone now. So obviously the kids are off school today as well. In fact, because it's a Thursday, the kids are off. They do a ponte, which is called a bridge here. That's quite common in Italy. If like a holiday falls on a Tuesday or a Thursday, they take the Friday or the Monday off and like have 4 days. They don't like working, do they, in Italy? You don't like working, do you? Yeah? Like having parties. So all the kids are off school, yeah. So anyway, let's go into the centre and I will show you the Festa del Torrone. There's a bit of history in this, yeah, and a bit of contradictory history as well. I'll explain to you in a minute. I was obviously joking when I said that Italians don't work. If you watch my previous videos, you'll see that I say that the Italians are one of the most hard-working nations there are. Grafters, real grafters. They like their holidays as well. Anyway, here we are now. Look at this, Festa del Torrone. So police car trying to reverse behind me. Anyway, I mentioned that there's a bit of contradictory history in this almond nugget thing. Torrone. I always get mixed up because in Spanish it's turrón and in Italian it's torrone. Ever since I was a little kid growing up, I grew up with a little bit of Spanish culture as well. My father's Spanish. For me, it's always been turrón from Alicante, which was like a sweet almond. No, grazie, no. I'm allergic to nuts, by the way. It's like a sweet almond nugget thing that was famous from Alicante. Now, when the internet arrived, I looked into it and I found that it wasn't really from Spain. It was from the Arabic countries when the Moors conquered parts of Spain. In fact, it's famous from Alicante, which is the south part of Spain. And then I came here to Cremona, and then everyone was talking about this Torrone, famous almond nugget with honey in it, famous from Cremona. And the story goes that it dates back to 1411, I think, so a long time ago. And a famous marriage here between some noble people or whatever, I don't know what their names are, I'll link it below. And the bakers for the wedding, I think they'd run out of eggs. There's a story behind it, but they made like a sweet out of the shape of this, that there, which is the torrazzo, and they called it torrone. That's what they say here. So it'd be interesting to see actually where it comes. It's probably true that it comes from. I think in the Philippines as well they eat it, but it's famous around Christmas time. It's a famous sweet around Christmas time. And I think Cremona now, ever since I've lived, at least 10 years, they've been doing La Festa del Torrone in November. I think because in Christmas, obviously commercially, they've got other interests, and around this time there's nothing on, so let's make a bit of money. So yeah, it's filled with these stands that they all serve Torrone. It's expensive as hell. I think I was speaking to someone last year, they bought like a little bit, 13 euros or something. So anyway, so that's the story of it. If anyone has any other stories about Turron or Torrone, let me know in the comments, because I'm intrigued. I want to know if there's any other places in the world that eat it apart from Italy, Spain and the Philippines. But I'm sure in the Philippines that was the Spanish that took it there, because they conquered. I don't want to say we. Anyway, I've got to find my wife.
Vuole assaggiare un pezzo di torrone?
Sono allergico, scusami, sto facendo un video per mia mamma che, scusa, è bellissimo tutto, è buonissimo sicuramente, ma appunto sono allergico, è proprio... This is probably better, there's not the frequency of the light before the noise in the video. Look at all the types of torrone, with egg, licorice, rum, rum, it's nice fruit, chocolate. This is a new one, churros con Nutella. Anyone who's a little bit cultured will know that churros are from Spain. So the market's getting more European as we go on. Wow. Churros con chocolate. Used to love them as a kid. That's one thing I think they do better here in Italy than in the UK, is that they consistently have, not every weekend, but very often, I would say maybe twice a month, like a themed event. Like 2 weeks ago it was La Festa del Salami Fest. Before that it was, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but they have like these themed events that bring everyone from the surrounding area, you know, within a radius of 20 kilometres or wherever the nearest city is. Everyone comes here for that weekend. And I've mentioned it before in other videos as well, in the summer they have Giovedì d'estate, which is like Thursday summer, where all the shops here are open till like 2 in the evening. And it creates this sort of micro-economic activity. So in that weekend everyone makes loads of money. Then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday it's dead basically. It's dead. But at least they're trying to they're trying to, it's shifting. You know, back in the day it was people would come to the shops and go shopping, have a walk around. Now that doesn't really exist. It's more these events that attract people. The shops still live off it a little bit, but it's evolving. It's evolving because the Italians always love doing a passeggiata, which is, you know, a famous stroll through the city centre, showing off what you're wearing, what you've got. And that's never going to die. It's just shifting. Times change. The only constant is change. Isn't it nice? All the lights. This is the real reason I came into the town. Forza Cremona. You see the tops here. Fardi, dobbiamo vincere. We need to change that song, guys. Let's get a petition signed for the whole curva to change songs. We've got to change it. We've got famous musicians in Cremona as well, because a couple of years ago, the famous Sanremo festival, it's so famous that no one knows what it is outside of Italy. Now, it's like Eurovision in Italy, but it's a huge festival. The winner of it, the guy who wrote the song was from Cremona. Should we get a petition? I don't know his name. Get a petition for him to write a song for Cremona, the curva. Mardi Vardi. Anyway, wow, we're in now Piazza del Duomo, which is the main square in Cremona. And I have to say it's very beautiful. I'm very proud of the fact that my daughters were born here. That is the town hall, my friends. And behind me is the famous Torrazzo, 112 metres. And now we're going to go into, that's a church. We're going to go into the church, and my wife's going to light a candle. My wife and daughter are going to light a candle and say a prayer. It's quite pleasant actually. It's about 17 degrees, very, very mild for this time of year. I can remember Sant'Omobono's being like 2 or 3 degrees. In fact, the people here are dressed for the occasion. They're not dressed for the temperature. I shouldn't film in churches, but I'm going to just film quickly. Look how beautiful this place is, guys. Beautiful. Now I have to say that I'm not a huge religious person. Although I was brought up, I used to be an altar boy. I was brought up in a religious upbringing. My vocabulary in English is terrible. But every time I go into a church like that, a beautiful church, I get quite emotional. And this picture here, I didn't know, but Sant'Omobono is buried here. In fact, we went down I didn't film anything because I don't like filming much in churches. We went down to his grave, his grave or his tomb where he's buried, and there was loads of people you could pray and then we saw it. But anyway, I was reading this. The translation of this is legend has it that Sant'Omobono died praying on his knees in front of this crucifix, and it was a crucifix that was there. So yeah, anyway, a little bit of a tradition. It reminded me of when I walked into... Has anyone been to Rome? If you've not been to Rome, you need to go to Rome. You need to see all the churches in Rome. They're like mind-blowing. You're like, how can people create such beautiful things? And like, they were all created thousands of years ago, you know. Unbelievable. Mind-blowing. Sei preso? Però pistacchio?
Cremino, non Torrone. Dov'è?
I wanted to finish the video in this place here called Ugo. Where is it? Ugo Grill. It's like a famous sandwich place in Cremona. It's the most famous place in Cremona for sandwiches. It's been, it was nominated by the New York Times as best. Well, I'll link it below. It's a famous, everyone comes here. We bought our dinner here, we bought some sandwiches. I'll show you later on what we bought. Ugo Grill. If you come into Cremona, you've got to try the sandwiches here. Going home on the bike. See the sandwiches. I'll show you the tramezzini they're called. My wife told me, you gotta say it in Italian, tramezzini, sandwiches. These are the tramezzini. Look at them. Gorgeous. Anyway guys, that was it. The Festa del Torrone and the contradictory history around this famous almond nugget with honey in there as well. Thanks for watching to the end. As you know, Vardy's come to play for this city. I'm following Vardy this season as he gets us into the Conference League, and I also describe life, everyday life here in Italy as a foreigner. YouTube thinks you might like this video here. Ciao for now, folks.